Welcome to another Books and Things with Tom. Today is the last day of April. I never thought that January, February, and March would ever get through, but April has just zipped right by. Tonight's guest is a certified life coach of the Tops spot, and her name is Charlene Tops, and she's written a book, and it's called Journey to the Summit by Charlene Tops. Welcome, Charlene.
Thank you, Tom.
Appreciate you coming down. I've got over 20 years of experience of life coaching, and I unfortunately didn't get the book in time to read the whole thing, but the things I skipped through to here, your autograph, thank you very much, is interesting. And I find I think the book is going to be very helpful. Who can use this book?
Actually, anyone and everyone can use this book. It's simple enough for anyone to pick up and be able to follow the steps, and yet if you look at it and read through it, you can take it deeper and go through it several times to get the material. It has a lot of different material that's useful for every person.
And it's laid out very well.
Thank you.
Table of contents, I made a copy of it. Pick your word. Explain pick your word.
Well, I always think when the new year comes around that I want to do this whole resolution thing and be a better person and do all these things. And I found myself year after year getting really frustrated because I ended up being defeated because I never would accomplish. And you just start feeling negative about the whole thing. So finally I threw that idea away and I thought, I'm going to just pick a word to focus on. And I did, and I focused on it throughout the year. I put this word up on my refrigerator, I put it on a desk, I put it everywhere I could think of. And it actually made a difference because I was able to just focus on one concept.
Yeah.
And it was so exciting because my family saw the word make a difference, and now they pick their words, and we kind of have a unique ceremony every New Year's Eve where everyone picks their word.
Now, what kind of word? What does it do?
Well, like one word that I did was fortify. So I wanted to fortify all the different areas of my life, my health, my relationships, my spiritual side, all the different aspects of who I am. I wanted to build up what was already there. This year I want thrive. I want to go from just feeling like I'm surviving in these areas of my life to actually begin to thrive. And you look at the different areas of your life, and they're in the book, all the areas of your life, and you see where you're lacking, which area you might need a little more focus on, and you apply your word to what you feel you need for that year in your life.
Well, that's interesting. I like that idea.
It's a lot easier than a whole list of resolutions.
Yeah, that you don't pay any attention to. I actually lose a list about 10 minutes after I write it. Excuse me. I don't do resolutions. I don't do them very well at all. Now, self-sabotage, we were discussing that earlier, and that's an interesting thing, how somebody can actually sabotage you by saying things when you're very young.
Unfortunately, a lot of negative messages are given to us as we grow up, and even as we're young adults, and even all throughout life. People say messages to you, and you take them in. But where it becomes the biggest problem is we repeat them over and over to ourselves. And we say so many negative things to ourselves that we actually believe them. And that happens, being a woman, I know that women have this issue a lot in their lives. I'm sure other people, I'm sure it's a male-female thing, but women really struggle with self-image and different things like that, not feeling good enough because of messages. But what happens when you self-sabotage is that you're feeding that to yourself, and you're constantly telling yourself. In some of the conferences I've done, I tell people to actually, and it sounds funny at first, but stand in front of a mirror and speak to yourself. Positive things, because face-to-face communication is one of the biggest forms of communication. It's more powerful than just reading or seeing or whatever. But that face-to-face contact, so why not use that with yourself? So you stand in front of a mirror and you tell yourself the positive things that you are and who you are working to be. And it really, really helps. It helps defeat
How
some
do you
of
get
that.
over not laughing at yourself?
Well, that's fine, because find joy in who you are.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it. It is awkward at first, but then you begin to develop a deeper sense of valuing your own speech to yourself. Because whether you think you do or whether you're aware of it or not, you tell yourself things all day long. And how many of them are negative? Oh, I'm such a loser. I'll never be good enough. I failed. I always fail. You know, I'm too fat. I'm too this. I'm too that. And we feed that over and over, and then.
Well, that's interesting. The now you blend humor and wit and passion in the book, and you received your certification for life coaching, as well as certification as a woman's inner power and purpose coach through the Case Institute. So you're actually certified.
Yes.
And I think that's amazing. Let's get down to the next one, affirmations chapter.
Affirmations are things that you affirm. The word means positive, things that you tell yourself. And so instead of believing the lies and the negative things that are told to you or you tell yourself, you set yourself up for positive enforcement and statements. And there's a variety of ways of doing this. I have some posted on my wall, and I look at them daily, and I repeat them. They're kind of like mantras, or I don't know another word for it, but they help you by reminding you of all the positive affirmations, you know, affirming yourself and helping yourself become more of who you really are, so that you can see that.
Or who you want to be.
Right.
Which is another
Who you're growing
story.
into.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally missed the growing up part and stuff. And vision boards, that's...
And that's another
way.
it's a visual.
Yeah.
So that way you can actually see things to remind yourself of where you want to go. You know, the whole thing with setting goals and things like that is you don't want, I try to fill my world with visuals so that I'm reminded of what I'm working toward and what I want to see happen in my life, because otherwise you kind of forget.
Yeah.
You know, visuals to me make a big difference. So I'm moving soon in a few weeks, and so I just took down my vision board, and I was amazed at the things that this past year I've accomplished on the vision board, and my book is one of them. I didn't even have TV on there, but that's an added bonus.
Well, you know, many years ago, I was renting, my then wife and I were renting, and we wanted to build a house, and it was a picture in the New London Day of this gorgeous house, and we cut it out and put it up on a wall, and then I sent away for the plans. We didn't have any money or anything, but that was our goal. We built the house about a year or two later, and that's still sitting up there. I'm not there anymore, but it was
So that
but it was a
vision
vision
board,
board, yeah.
exactly,
And,
helps you see what you want.
Yeah, I think that's important. And writing books, you got to have the vision to do it, and you got to be able to sit down and say, "This is what I'm going to do," and let's get down there in writing. Journaling is good.
Journaling is really
That's
good
very important.
because there's freedom in journaling.
Yeah.
And if in here I say there's one rule to journaling, there are no rules. And because I tend to sit down, I used to tend to sit down and write, and then I'd want to correct everything as I said it or whatever, or not say anything that might look this way or look that way, and make sure the punctuation. No, journaling is just about expressing your emotion and expressing your memories, expressing your thoughts. And it's only you.
Yeah.
And you need that total freedom, and it's amazing what you can discover through journaling.
And going back and looking at what happened 5 years ago,
Exactly.
and you go, "That wasn't me."
And you can find patterns of behavior. The self-sabotaging I found a lot through my journaling, because I realized whenever I came to this particular situation, I always responded this way. So why? And then I was able to dig deeper and see the patterns of this causes this, so therefore I need this to make a different outcome.
Yeah.
And so it does. It brings up a lot of your symptoms.
Well, you know, it's interesting that I did a seminar on my book about mystic, and I explained to the people that history is made every day, just like they say on the TV, and it is made every day. And if you write down a journal about what's happening, you can actually sit down and write a book.
That's true.
And a friend of mine did that because she traced her mother was sick with dementia, and she was writing down. She go visit her and write down what had happened, and then she took all these notes that she had put together for I don't know how many years, and wrote a book, and it does very well. And it's called Dementia Coming Home, and it's an excellent book. But it's just all her journalism from the years. So journalism is good. I'm hoping everybody's taking notes. If not, you're going to have to buy the book.
Well, that's a good idea, even if you are taking notes.
That's right, because your notes aren't going to be as good as the book. Pitfalls and Plateaus.
Well, I thought that, taking a journey, doing like Journey to the Summit and doing like the mountain climbing thing, there's always pitfalls and plateaus that we reach. And a lot of people give up at that point.
Yeah.
That's exactly when people decide, I'm going to just quit.
Yeah.
So if you're aware that this is going to happen, then you can set up some safeguards and plans of what to do when you face a pitfall and what to do when you're at a plateau to make it your next step up.
Yeah.
So it helps you find ways of working around those things.
Yeah, because there's a pitfall no matter what you do. There's always going to be problems. And you got to decide, it's just going to stop me, or is just going to just give me a little bend in the road. Time management is important, obviously.
Definitely.
And goal setting is good. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of times people forget to set a goal, or they set it too high. Mm-hmm. A high goal is one thing, but it's got to be something that you think you can accomplish.
Right.
And one of my goals is I want to go to Portugal, but it's not a very high one on my list because I never get there.
Well, I set out ways of chunking down your goals so that you can actually realize more goals than what you actually think you can. Because if you set them up and you break them into segments to reach the goal, it becomes so much more manageable and attainable. Because sometimes we can't see the way there because it seems so far-fetched or so hard to get to. But if you chunk it into little pieces and then work toward that piece, and then you've got a stepping stone to the next place and to the next place. And that's what this book helps do.
Yeah.
It helps you be able to align these things in your life. And it's personable. It's for you to do. It's kind of like a workbook sort of thing, so that you actually take the things that are talked about and utilize them the way it works for you. I say in the book that it's not a 1, 2, 3 step for you to take. It's insights and little things to help you find what works for you. And so it's helpful that way. It's catered to you, not just a guideline of, yes, do this, do that, do that.
Yeah.
Suggestions that will make it easier for you.
Well, I found that I was trying to lose weight, and I wanted to lose 30 pounds. And I'm thinking, how am I ever going to do that? So I set a goal for 5 pounds.
Yeah.
And when I got to the 5 pounds, I said another 5 pounds, because it's easier to lose 5 pounds than it is 30.
Right. And then there's also that joy of accomplishing.
Yeah.
Because when you feel like you've already accomplished something, it really propels you to accomplish more.
Exactly.
And that's the whole thing. Sometimes if we get to that plateau, or we don't do what we think we wanted to do, then you stop rather than continue. Whereas if you set it up into segments, you accomplish that segment, you have that much more strength and energy and to go on to the next. So it helps.
So again, don't set the goals too high, because you're just not going to make it. What is your story? That's an interesting one.
what is your story? That's a chapter in the book.
Yeah.
So what I get in at that is finding who you really are, because so many people hide behind, and they never really discover who they really are. One of the really cool exercises that I ask people to do in this book is start off with who you, like I went through this whole thing. I'm a woman. I was born a girl, and then I was a daughter. I was a sister. I was a cousin. I was a granddaughter. And I charted out all the different labels and titles and things that I have done in my lifetime to see who I am and who my circle is around me. And it's more in depth in the book, but that's just kind of like a highlight. And it helps you find your story. It helps you find, I have children that are twins, and so I'm a mother of twins. So I can relate to things that go around twins, per se. So it helps you see your specialities and the things that are special to you that maybe you can help other people, and you find your story. Maybe you've been abused, maybe you were in a bad marriage. These are all stories of who we are, and we can take our story and share it so that it helps our fellow kind, helps the world.
Yeah.
Getting tongue-tied.
And isn't that what we try to do, is to help other people? And you have to be able to get in to know, you got to know the problem before you can help anybody.
Right.
And so then you want to share it. And I think that's what I do with my books, is share it. And I've been there, so I don't want to hear it. But that's a good idea. I like the idea. What made you write the book?
Well, I have wanted to write and have actually written since I was 7, but little things here and there. I never actually published anything, and I always wanted to. And I joined a group on Facebook that was a challenge to write during the month of November. And so we had the friends help, keep you going and all of that thing. And it was great because I actually sat down and I did it. And I was so pleased because I got it accomplished, because I had the help of these people challenging me to do it. And
wow.
it was exciting. And then I did it, and I felt so good because now I know I actually can write and I can actually do it again.
Yeah.
And so I am starting my second book. I've started it, and it'll be a little more in depth, and I'm excited about it.
I think that's neat. So other people actually entice you to write the book.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Because I had to do the challenge. I only had so many days to get it done, and I sat right down and got to the task.
See, Facebook isn't a total waste of time.
No, if you utilize it correctly, it's a great tool.
It is. It's a tremendous tool. I'm on it constantly.
I love social media.
I do too, except when they start to get nasty.
Well, yeah.
And then it's just the politics, and I'm sick of the politics.
Yeah, I don't do politics very well.
No. I have politicians on every once in a while, and I tell them, we're not politics here. We're just friends, and they're very good. You get a good politician, you talk to them, and they don't really get on the politics and get nasty and everything, but until it's time to run for office. I copied this page because I thought it was interesting. It is necessary for a man to go away by himself, to sit on a rock and ask, "Who am I? Where have I been? And where am I going?" by Carl Sandburg. I think that is true.
I love that quote.
Yeah.
And it is so true, because what a difference it makes.
It does, because you're sitting out there floundering. Where are you going to go?
Especially in this day with all the social media and all the noise. People don't sit and check where they are or where they're going or where they've been.
Yeah.
They lose touch. So it's important.
Yeah. And where's your book available?
Amazon.com.
Amazon.com. And interesting book. And it doesn't look like it's going to take too long to read. Unless you stop and study each page, which you should. No, it's only 65 pages. But it's Journey to the Summit. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's on the back it says, tired of trying the same old things, frustrated by making resolutions only to break them several days or weeks later, spinning you into a failure state of mind. And this is your year. Read the book. I think it's a great book from what I've read.
Thank you.
And now so you're gonna write another book. This is great.
I am. I'm excited. I've started it.
We're gonna have to get you down to the Connecticut Authors and Publishers Association meetings and introduce you to some of our publishers and
Definitely.
some of the other people. And we're all authors, and we're not in competition because nobody writes alike. So
Right.
we sit and work together and try to help each other. And
That would be so motivating.
yeah,
Part of me doesn't believe I actually wrote a book. Like, I discount it because it's just a small little workbook, but it really happened and it's true.
I think it's great. And people say, well, I'd like to write a book. Well, write it. The worst thing that can happen is you wrote it.
Exactly.
If nobody bought it, you still wrote it. You're still
That's
a published
right.
author.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the apex is to be able to have something like that. And there's nothing that feels better than having your own book. And trust me, I get so many books, and I read every one of them, and I think it's just so fascinating because everybody writes differently. Mm-hmm. And this is a good book. This is something that you can use to get accomplished. Now, you just moved back in from Canada.
Yes.
Wow.
I had been living in Canada for quite a few years.
Yeah.
And now we came back to Connecticut to be close to family and my grandchildren.
Oh, that's nice.
So it's exciting.
See, if you stayed up there, you had to write that in French.
I wasn't on the French side, but true. There is a lot that's changed since we've been back.
Yeah.
So
And you have another job too, right?
yes,
Okay.
I am currently working for TA as a assistant manager in Branford, Connecticut.
Oh, very good.
So say hi to all my crew there.
Yeah. Well, I think it's
They're quite excited today.
yeah. Well, you're going to get a copy of the show to take back with you, and be able to maybe put it up on, just run it a whole day.
There you go.
I think the idea of the show is to obviously get unknown authors out and get people to know and who you are, and be able to get your books in stores or whatever, because there's so many big name authors out,
Right.
and they automatically sell anyway.
Right.
So that's what we try to do with this show, is to get people to understand that there's a lot of good authors out there, and just nobody knows them yet. And we try to get the information out. There's something else I was going to ask you about the book, and I just lost it. You have 5 daughters?
I do. I have 3 daughters and 2 stepdaughters, and 5 grandchildren, with a 6th on the way.
Oh my!
Busy.
You. Anything else you want to say about the book?
No, just I think that it would be awesome for people to go to Amazon and check it out, because, like I said, there's a lot of material in there that you can really be benefited by reading it. And I've had good reviews on it where people have said they like the way I wrote it because it's simple to understand,
Yeah.
but yet it's challenging for them to actually do what's suggested.
Well, that's the thing. If you can understand it, you can read it, and be able to have practice on it. There's also you have a web page,
Yes.
and the web page is, there it is, thetopspot.com. And you can also find her on Facebook. Is it under your name, or is it under the
It's under the Top Spot.
Top Spot? Mm-hmm. So get out there on Facebook and take a look and.
I post motivational and inspirational things every day on that site, so
Oh, okay.
it's a good place to interact with me. You can message me there, leave me messages.
Yeah, I'll do that.
It's a
later when I get
growing
home.
community, and make sure they like it.
That's cool.
It's a good feeling to be able to help other people and inspire people.
Yeah.
And I just want to motivate and help inspire others to get through wherever they're at and to be successful
Yeah.
in what they choose to do. Sometimes you need a little help with that.
Yeah, because I think people need a way to go, and sometimes a little hit here and there, and say, oh, maybe I can try a different way. But I think anything like this can be a godsend to some people who just don't know where they're going, what they're doing, and where they're going with it. And but like I said, I'm big in self-help books. When I was a teenager in high school, I think I read every self-help book. It was How to Influence Friends and People, and and getting into sales and stuff. So they're very handy.
Right.
Very handy.
And the good news is I am a certified life coach, so if someone wants to reach out, I can help you along with, I had offered a workshop along with the book at a discounted price. If they're interested,
Yeah.
they could contact me on that as well.
Okay. So there you go.
We'll walk you through it.
Certified coach and author. And we're happy to have you here.
Thank you for having me today.
Couple of things. We got. Stay tuned immediately following today's show, because Denison Farmers Market is coming on at 9:30, and tonight's guest is Ed and Belinda Learned of the Stony Brook Farm in North Stonington, and that's the segment we're trying to get more interest in the farmers markets, and that's in Mystic and Denison Farm North Market, because we want more people to get down there and get that fresh food and vegetables, and they also sell meats down there. And next week's guest is Sandra Maniscalco of the Brodeur Cancer Foundation. And Sandy is one of the founders of the Brodeur Cancer Foundation. We're going to be learning more about that next week. I know they have a walk coming up in the fall. Next week is also Denison Market will be Ron Hader of the Hader Farm in Franklin, Connecticut. And again, I try to remind everybody that SEC TV is a local station, and it's a not-for-profit station. So if we live on donations, I don't, but they do. I don't get any money. but I wish you could send me a check. Anyway, stop in down here at the Groton Shopping Plaza, and we're in between Benny's and the post office, so you can stop in and say hello. We have 2 Franks here, and say hello and check out our new digs down here, which is almost a year old now. But we'd like to see you. And I thank you for watching. You can email me at santostom@comcast.net. You should be reading. Cuddle up with a good book. I'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thank you.